Hey, this is Chasing Adrenaline. I'm your host, Megan Reneau, and today's guest is Roberto Martinez. He's joining us from Mexico. So it's very exciting. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about just how you got into the industry and if you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself before we dive in.
Absolutely. Yes. So, as you mentioned, I'm a Mexican stunt performer. I got into this because it turns out I'm stupid, or maybe not that much. Yeah, no, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do, it always came down to okay, so I like riding horses, I like fighting, I like scuba diving. So I eventually started looking for stunt schools, which would allow me to continue doing all those stupid, crazy stuff and get paid doing it. So I
That's the bonus.
eventually found, like, sorry,
I would say that's the bonus part, getting paid for doing all the crazy stuff.
of course. So yeah, I eventually found the United Stuntmen's Association in Seattle, Washington, and I went there during their July workshop back in 2001, and that's pretty much how I got into this. Then I came back home and started looking for work. I got introduced to a couple of stunt coordinators, and yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the biz.
So how is the industry in Mexico from when you started to how it is in today's world?
Oh, it's grown so much more. I mean, back in the day, there's been stunt performers and stunt men in Mexico for a long time. Uh, Most of the old school stuntmen, because of the language barrier, they couldn't really pronounce stunt, so they thought the word was stone, as in rock, and they loved it. They rolled with it. They called themselves stone men because they thought they were made of stone and they couldn't break, and they would do just the craziest stunts you could imagine. Fortunately, the business has evolved, not just here, but everywhere. And we've gotten it to learn how to do the same kind of crazy shit, but a little bit smarter. So now we don't have to be stone men, we can be stunt men. And yeah, it's grown. I remember when I first started, I was doing a lot of wigging. I was stunt doubling for a lot of actresses. There was a point in my career where I had done twice as many actresses as actors. And now when I go to my regular club, the crew I'm training with, there's so many more women, which I love, but at the same time I hate because it's taking work away from me. So every time a new girl comes into the crew, I just go up to my stunt coordinator. Hey, dude, what are you doing? You're bringing me more competition. He just laughs it off, and I mean, I'm glad that the business has grown. So yeah, it's
Well, a big part of what I want to talk to you about today is, that you did wigging, which is why I was so excited to have you on because I feel like it's very, historically accurate for stunt, like in our stunt community, that back in the day, there wasn't a lot of stunt performers. So more and more men were stunt doubling for women, and they were having to wig, and now a lot of people are like, oh, it's controversial, like, guys should be wigging for women, but at the same time, if I'm getting brought on to do a stunt and I can't do it, but there's the guy next to me and he can do that stunt, I mean, why not wig him and do that role? But I feel like I was excited to have you on and talk about it because there's so many different challenges for a man to be doubling a female, because even just mechanically how we move. And I wanted to actually bring that back to how we met at the PADI, the International Order of the Sword of the Pen, PADI Crane International Workshop, but whichever people like to go by. Because I believe it was Michelle Ladd, and she was doing a class that I sat in on, and you came in to assistant teacher, and she was we were doing, damsel in the distress walking or damsel walking. We were doing warrior queen and I think femme fatale. And that's when, you started talking about like kind of like wigging and your experience and working in heels and the way that women move. So if you want to talk to us a little bit about what it was like doubling women, even if it's less common now, I still think it's, it's a very special skill as a man to be able to move like a woman. So if you want, yeah, talk to us a little bit about that. It's super cool.
Uh, I really love stunt doubling for women. I know this might be very controversial, especially in today's world where we're opening up more spaces in the workforce for women, and I applaud women. The reason I mentioned I love stunt doubling for women is because it brings us back to the true skill of the stunt performer instead of having to deal with just or relying on your pads and your protection equipment. Unfortunately, we still live in a very macho society where women are still viewed as pretty objects, and that's reflected on screen where you know this better than I do. When you go to work, the outfits that you get to wear are very skimpy outfits.
Yes.
I remember I was doing a fall off a horse, a galloping horse, for a TV show down here. And my stunt coordinator at the moment walks up to me and says, "So, Rob, can you put on some pads?" I'm like, "Dude, I can barely fit in this outfit. There's absolutely no way I can pad up." He just looked at me like, "Dude, you're fucking crazy." And just kind of told me, "Well, be careful." Well, yeah, I'll be as careful as possible, but yeah, I mean, the wardrobe was super tight because that's what women wear. Unfortunately, on that same show, there was another action sequence where the actress was wearing a very short dress, and I didn't get called for that one because the outfit and whatnot. And that was just an amazing experience because next time during the show, when I met this actress, we were at a coffee break, we were at the catering, and a group of fans walked up to her. And I'm just grabbing my coffee and heading back to my camper. And she stops me, pulls me over, and she introduces me to her fan club as, "Hey, this is my stunt double." And she also mentioned, "You know what? The last time I had a girl stunt doubling for me, I didn't like her. So from now on, I just want you stunt doubling for me." Unfortunately, I haven't been able to work with this actress again since that time, but getting that recognition was really, really nice for me. And yeah, as you were mentioning, the way men and women move is very, very complicated to kind of break up because our centers of gravity are different. The clothes that we're wearing also make movement very different. I was shooting a short film for a friend of mine, and I was doing this mostly as an actor, rather than a stunt guy. And the character that I was playing, he was some sort of angel, and he needed to convince the lead character to not stray from the right path and get back on the right path. So he jumps in front of a moving car, gets run over, the angel, and to make it even more dramatic, being an angel, he shapeshifts into a woman. So the lead character just ran over a girl. He gets really freaked out, and that kind of drives him back to the right path. But while we were doing that, we were on location, and the director, she's a friend of mine, she saw a location that worked for another dialogue that my character had at another point, and I had to do that as a guy, not playing the woman that the character had shape shifted into. But I didn't have my wardrobe there because we had driven to location. So I just put on a really long jacket. We shot in the shadow, and I had to walk like a guy on high heels. And I think that's been one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do because balance is completely different. I was also in another show, and when I got cut from that show, they still needed more stuntmen to come in and double for women. And I was watching the show once on TV, and I saw one of the leading women, or the character, walking on to a motorcycle because she had to get on and drive, and you could completely see it was a guy who was stunt doubling, because first of all, his shoulders were much wider, and the way he was walking, it's like, dude, you're not going to go and kill the motorcycle. You're supposed to be stunt doubling for the girl, so at least try to move like the character. And for that same show, before I got caught, I had to do stunt double for an actress, and the way we shot it was we shot the fight sequence. Okay, so yeah, we're during rehearsal, and I'm looking at this way. So the way that she threw the kick, her left hand kind of pulled downwards in a way that me, being a trained fighter, I would never do. But because she wasn't a trained fighter, and because she was a girl, I had to study the way she moved just so I could get as close to her performance as possible. So yeah, I had to change the whole way I threw a side kick, the whole way I held my guard. I mean, if I'm fighting, my hands are up here. Girls are usually not taught how to fight. That's why we get the whole "you fight like a girl." Well, it's not that women don't know how to fight. It's just that they're not taught how to fight. When a woman is taught how to fight, she can hold her guard perfectly. When she doesn't, her wrists tend to break, her arms tend to drop down. And when you're stunt doubling for a woman, if you're not doing those same gestures or those same postures, then it completely takes away from the magic that we're trying to create. That it's this character, whether it's a girl or a guy, who knows how to fight or who doesn't know how to fight.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely instantly tell when, like, you're watching a movie when it switches to a double, when all of a sudden, yeah, their entire body and mannerisms change, and you're kind of like, "That's not right," and then you start to pick it apart because you clue into that, and the audience
Yeah.
isn't dumb. Right? People, like, say, "Oh, the audience is dumb," but they're not. They're gonna pick it up. I think, though, the one that always comes to mind for me was Angelina Jolie. I think it's the second Tomb Raider, and she's going down a rope, and when they cut to it, I could see the man muscle scaling down the rope, but it's such a quick second that I think if you weren't watching for that one, you wouldn't see it, but it's the one I always remember.
Our eyes are trained differently, right?
Yeah.
As stunt performers, we're
The
trained to
goggles.
look for those very small details. That's actually one of
Sure.
my pet peeves in Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
because Gal Gadot, she's supposed to have been trained in the military. She was in the Israeli military, so she should know how to fight. But when you see her stand in guard, her wrists are broken up like this.
I
I'm like,
have actually, now you said that, I've seen that too.
I'm like, for real? This is supposed to be a badass Amazon warrior, and her wrists are broken. And I was telling my parents this after the movie, and they're like, seriously, you're picking up on that? You're nitpicking? Come on, was the movie? Yeah, the movie was great, but this, as a fighter, breaks the whole movie magic for me, because now I can't see Wonder Woman as a badass warrior. So yeah.
Like you said, our goggles, it almost makes you wonder, like, was she up? And the director's like, "You're hiding your face because she's the actress," so she's just like it makes you wonder.
Yeah, but you can just do this, and that fixes it. So
I mean, yeah, I never know. I just think that's super funny. I was trying to think of another thing too, just when you were talking like doubling, like even a female doubling a female, usually you want to work with your actor and you kind of go over. I was on a cliff and she's like, I want to be throwing a ball when you're up there. So I'm like on this little cliff where my feet are stepping on each other because I have no room, bouncing the ball, watching her so I can copy her movement from the ground. And I think a lot of people like don't always think, oh, I should move like my actor. They don't, maybe they don't get to meet them or have that conversation. But I like that you had brought that up, and
yeah,
something.
sadly we don't always get time to work with our actors because they're busy working during the scene that leads up to what we have to do. So we don't have much time to really copy their movement. But yeah, I've had conversations with actors who basically say, "Oh no, acting is much more important and it's much more difficult than doing stunts." Well, dude, you've got months of preparing for this role to create the character. I've got 5 minutes in between lighting and getting directions from both the director and my coordinator, and prepping my safety gear and making sure special effects and my stunt crew, they're all on the same page so I won't get injured. And I still have to remember that I'm not doing me. I'm not doing you. I'm doing your character, which you've had months to prepare and to develop how this character is going to move. And I have to get that for a 3 second shot just to make you look like you're doing the action.
Well, it's true, right? Because you can't even go back to their old movies, like, "Oh, he moved this way," because like, Tim Roth on Tin Star, like, he kinda walked with a I don't like, he had a bit of a movement, a bit of like a limp to his walk, and if you watch his other stuff, he might not have had that, so you really can't even base your movement off of their previous work, and yeah, it's unfortunate you said that because it is something like movement artists, we have to learn quick, it's like choreo on the day, maybe 5 minutes before, and all of a sudden you're walking a completely different way than them. I know when I doubled Jan Arden, I have like, I'm pigeon-toed, and I was doing a treadmill scene where I was running, and I was trying so hard to keep my feet straight because she's not pigeon-toed, and, like, even then, in the take, you can see that, like, she looks like she's running pigeon-toed. So
Yeah, that's why you love actors like Johnny Depp, right? Because most of his movies, he's always moving the same way, so it's easier to get that.
helpful. I mean, I everybody loves Johnny Depp, so, I mean, it's super cool. I do wanna, while we're talking about this, get Tyler just to pull up, some of the photos you have of you doubling women. I think I picked about 5. I mean, you've done a lot of stuff, so I really wanted to show some of them, just because I think, like, it keeps in context. So, we have this one where it shows, I mean, like, even seeing this picture, I mean, you look like a chick, you look like a woman, so I wouldn't have even thought that was you when I first saw that one.
That one has a very interesting backstory to it because we were doing a TV show down here, and the stunt coordinator, this was back when there were a lot less women. So he calls me up, and I have to go into wardrobe just to get the measurements and whatnot right. So the director, everybody knew it was going to be me stunt doubling for the actress. And when we got to location, the director saw me and he just went ballistic on my stunt coordinator, saying, "Why did you bring a guy for this? I specifically wanted a girl." And he's like, "But this is the guy that your people chose, and we have no time to go and find someone else." So eventually I did it, and yeah, I really like the look. But yeah, that one was the director going ballistic because it was a guy stunt doubling for a woman. So
Like you said, it's kind of hard when, they pick the person and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, rah, rah, rah," like, it's like, well, now, like you said, we don't have time, it's gonna affect production, like, kinda just gotta go with it at that point. So,
yeah,
here's another one. Tell us about this one.
that one was also, I love the backstories on these. I was stunt coordinating this. It was a Mexican movie, La Prima, the cousin, and so I was stunt coordinating this, and the production guy who actually got me into this project, he wanted me to be the one who stunt doubled for the actress. I mean, this was a very simple sequence. It was basically she had to tackle another actor, but the actor had back problems at the moment, so we needed a stunt double for her, not because she couldn't do the action, but just to protect the other actor. And this actor, well, when we did casting for this specific character or the stunt double, I was asked to bring in other options. So this other stunt girl came in, and to this day, she still hates me because she came in, she auditioned, and it just happened that I got the part. But I don't know. I think she just guessed that because she was a girl, she was immediately going to get the gig stunt doubling for another actress. And it was funny because this actress, she wore most of her own clothes for the movie, and for this one they had to have her use wardrobe from the movie just so they could have a spare for me. And she was completely crazy about it. She didn't like it. She was really pissed. Once she saw me in full character and dressed as her uh, her attitude completely changed, and she was just the sweetest. She was really nice. Oh, by the way, if you need to borrow the earrings here, use the earrings for the shot. And she was actually the one who asked for this picture. So
That's awesome. So with that one too, like, I was just looking because that, sorry, Tyler, the previous picture, I have to say, like, you got some padding, right? You get to wear the boobs, and I noticed that whenever I get the extra padding my boobs, if I don't get padding anywhere else because of the outfit, I'm like, hey, how can I aim this where I fall on my boobs or my fake
well,
boobs?
the fake boobs. That's because I did another movie and I was doing a high fall. And as soon as I land, cut, and bring in the actress, continue with the shot. And I was watching that at home with my sister and my brother-in-law. And because they knew that I was doing that same shot, they played the fall in slow motion. And they said, "Man, that must have been such a hard hit that the character's boobs kind of went through the body." I'm like, "Okay, note taken. Now on, I need to wear boobs when I'm stunt doubling just to get the effect, because yeah, the shot can be done really fast and you don't see it, but if somebody's playing it slow motion, then you do see those little details." So
Right? Sometimes you can definitely pick out if it's a male performer based off if you can see it. You can go to the next
yeah,
scene, Ty.
so just
Um,
trying to be professional. That's why I got the boobs. That
yeah.
one is exactly the one on the horse. That's the one where my stunt coordinator came up to me and asked if I could wear any padding. And as you can see, there's no place to pad.
Yeah, that one, I mean, like, I could kinda see as a female where I would pad, but like you said, if the wardrobe's already tight, like, you almost have to drop weight just so you can add more padding in.
Yeah, I mean, I can also see where I would pad. The problem is the wardrobe is skin tight. So
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't leave much room. Um,
yeah.
and then this one I wanted to bring up just because this is, showing you in your heels and your sword fighting, so I thought it was pretty badass.
Yeah, that was for a heel challenge that some friends had. So yeah, they asked me for a heel challenge, and I didn't know what else I could do in heels, so I just went for a nice thrust with a rapier.
I love it, always add a sword.
Of course. Well, yeah, um, there's a few back there. So
Right? Gotta have those in the shot. Tell us about this one.
that was for a short film that I also got called in. Apparently, the coordinator for this one, he had a girl who was his first option, and for some reason, I think timing or scheduling didn't work, so I got brought in. And yeah, I mean, it was nothing very big. It was just falling off a first floor balcony. And but yeah, the actress was really nice, and I got a chance to work with some of the best actresses in Mexico. So yeah, there's really not much of a backstory to this one, except that when we went for a rehearsal, I asked the coordinator, "So how do you want me to show up?" And he said, "No, just come in full drag." So I went in full drag, for the rehearsal and to check the location and whatnot. And the crew, they they approached me as if they were talking to a girl until finally they realized, and they were like, "Wait, what? Sorry, dude." I'm like, "No worries." I've had that a lot of times. In
Yeah.
Mexico, I know in the States, they don't do this that much, but in Mexico, when we're approaching a girl, either to say hi or goodbye, whatever, we kiss on the cheek. And I've been on set, and the director walks into the camper, and I'm already in costume, and he approaches me to kiss me on the cheek, and he's like, "Oh no, sorry, I'm so sorry." I'm like, dude, seriously, no worries.
Here's
That
a
one
here
was, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, here's another one with you in your heels.
Yeah, those are probably the highest heels I've ever worn. That was for another movie. I was called in to play a drag queen, and those are the highest heels I've ever worn, and I had to fight in those inside a club. So
How did that go?
it was interesting. Fortunately, the sequence did not involve a lot of running and jumping, but I did have to jump onto the other guy's back, and then he would shake me off, and I would go flying off his back on heels and trying not to either break the heels or break my ankles. So
Well, and there's one memory that you had talked to me about before. Just that what made it rewarding for you. You said there was a stunt woman who actually approached you regarding your wigging because you thought you were going to be in trouble. And I think that's a good story to share with the audience now that we've talked about, all the different wigging and female characters you've played, where even you've been kind of like, oh no, I'm going to, piss off this stunt woman, and here she is approaching you. So tell us about that.
yeah, we were shooting a movie, same one that I was mentioning that I was watching at home with my sister and my brother-in-law that they played in slow motion, and it was just a ridiculous scene. I don't even think they needed stunt people for this because we had a stunt driver just driving in the night, and the female character was sitting in the car with him. I guess it was just a precautionary measure. The thing is, when I went to not wardrobe, but when I went to makeup, the makeup artist looked at me and she's like, you know what? It's a night shot. You're in the car. Nobody's gonna notice. You can't really see your hands, but you're doing such a good job that here I'm gonna go the extra mile. And she did my nails, just like the character. So I'm sitting there having my nails done, and I didn't know that this stunt woman, who's she's very big down here because she was one of the first stunt women in the business here, and I didn't know she was going to be on set. And if they had her, why use me at all? So I'm sitting there. I can't really leave because they're doing my nails. And she walks up to me and she sees me in full costume getting my nails done. And she's like, you know what? I know what you're doing. You're doing a really good job. So just keep doing it. Just keep at it and good luck. I'm like, whoa, what? You're an OG. You're one of the top stunt female names in the business in Mexico, and you just gave me the thumbs up and told me to continue doing this. I think that's been one of the most rewarding comments I've ever had.
I do think that's really rewarding. Like even if she was an OG stunt woman, I think, as a stunt woman today too, just we talked about, it's such an interesting thing to get to. Like, I don't know if I'd ever double a guy. I just don't. I don't know. I think I move like, I don't think I could ever. I don't know if it's a skill I could learn. I think it'd be very challenging for me to walk or talk or, do the man thing. I just don't think I'd be good at it. But I think there are a lot of stunt women and stuff too, where it's like, it is an interesting skill to have. And I don't think that's like a terrible thing. Like I said, some guys, they're better at skills, at certain skills, and it's who their stunt coordinator has to pull from. So I think it's really interesting, and I just really love that I got a chance to talk to you about it. Um, I did want to go over one other quick thing with that too. Just one second. Oh yeah, so we talked about just like what I was talking about, the difference between specializing even in creature movement. People are always excited. They get to play a zombie on a film, and they're learning that kind of zombie films creature movement, or um, but they don't always think of just human movement. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I feel like that should be more of a special skill, just learning how to walk like different people.
Definitely, definitely. I got a chance to stunt coordinate. I want to make this perfectly clear. I don't consider myself a stunt coordinator, not just yet, but fortunately, when my stunt coordinator has been caught up in bigger projects, he's kind of let me coordinate a few smaller projects. So I'm very thankful to him for giving me that opportunity, because you do learn a whole lot more when you're on the other side of the camera, still doing stunts, but trying to coordinate and trying to get people to move the way they have to. And for this show, we were working with mummies, and it was very interesting because all the actors who were playing the mummies, they had to go for uh, I don't know, I think it was 2 3 months of the motion training to get to walk how the mummies did. And then we were brought in to stunt double for a few of the mummies because they got thrown into a wall or they got lit on fire, or whatever. And we didn't have those 2 3 months to learn how to walk like mummies. It was like, okay, rehearsal, this is the scene. What are the actors doing? How are they moving? They're dragging their bodies. Okay, so you're playing this mummy. You have to learn how to move like this mummy. I know nobody's going to see you, but they're going to notice the difference if you're moving differently. So yeah, it's very interesting, and I think there should be more work put into getting the stunt people to learn how to move like the creature or the actor. Because yeah, when we're in a big project, we have months of training. If it's, I don't know, Troy, we have months of training on sword fighting and choreography and whatnot, but we don't have enough time to work with our actors to see how they move and what their choreography is and how we can make that choreography similar or as similar as possible. So
Just even movement in general, right? Because if actors, like, I've done a lot of acting classes, and there's always movement classes, and you're like, oh, if your character's heavy, or if they're, tiny and, light on their feet. And then with stunts, like, I know, like the Patty, we've done some movement classes for sure, but I don't feel like it's a very normal. And I don't know if that's because people feel like it's basic to just work on movement skills and how you walk in character. But I mean, every stunt, every movement starts with footwork, right? Like, it's the
yeah.
base of everything. So I feel like any show, anything you're doing, that one of the first things you should be thinking of is your basic. Well, how am I moving, right? So I think it's a really awesome skill thing to not downplay.
When I finished the stunt school, Dave Boucher, my instructor and the founder of the stunt school, when he gave me my diploma, the one thing he mentioned as he was giving me my paper was, you need to go and take acting classes. So
Did you find that they benefited you? Like, do you like acting or do you prefer stunts?
um, I actually did a small theater play just so that I could get to work on the acting side of things. And I don't really enjoy acting. I've had to act many times, and yes, it's a very important skill because when we're doing stunts, we do have to act. Whether it's we're doing the character, because sometimes we do get character work, or we have to act like the actor who's acting like a character. So we do need to learn how to act. I found that in my process is not acting but getting into the character and becoming the character, and that makes the whole acting a little bit better. But yeah, I do think it's a very important skill that we do need as stunt people, because who knows, maybe you've got lines on that day and you're a small character, or you're just acting like the character that you're doubling for it. So yeah.
Well, especially because you do it too, like you do live performances where you do have to, you're not just always an action performer. You're also could have lines, like you said. So you do live performing and film and all
Yes.
theater. So they're all kind of like their own classification. So which one would you say that you like the most?
Oh, film and television. You get to screw up and repeat, as many times as needed. When you're doing live shows, you can't really screw up because there's no take two.
That's true. Yeah, it makes it so much harder, especially if you're like, oh, I was supposed to do this really cool stunt, and then I don't get to do it a second time because I missed the mark.
And also, it's a lot more difficult when you're doing action or when you're doing a fight. That's why I really admire wrestling, because wrestling, you're fighting, and but we all know it's fake, but there's still a level of realism to it, especially because in film you can hide the punch. You can throw a punch and be 3 feet away from your opponent. When you're wrestling, you have to be right on top of your opponent because you've got people watching from every single angle. So you can't really hide those punches. So that's why I really enjoy watching wrestling. But I watch it more as okay, this is what I could be doing, or this is what I should do it next time I'm in a fight sequence for whatever. But yeah, it's very interesting because there's no hiding it. Whereas
Yeah.
on television and film, you do get a chance to play off of that and pretty much deceive the audience much easier.
Yeah, it's a really good perspective. I want to go back and talk about the different skills you have because I know you do sword fighting, you do high falls, stair falls. So if you can kind of talk to us a little bit about all the different skills you do, and then there's a couple of videos I want to pull up on those too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as I mentioned, I did train with the United Stuntmen's Association. So, now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to do that professionally on work, but I've been part of a safety crew for fire stunts. I did that during training, but I've only been part of the safety crew on working for it. I've done high falls, stair falls. One of the most interesting stair falls I did was tackling another stunt woman. I was stunt doubling for an actress, tackling another stunt woman who was running at me up the stairs with a knife while I was in a wheelchair.
Oh, jeez.
Uh, yeah, and the best part is the director actually telling us, so can you guys land on this specific step? I'm like, sir, I'm rolling down, protecting my partner. The wheelchair is falling behind us. I'll do what I can. And sure enough, we landed on the mark. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I've done barroom fights, martial arts fights. I did many years of Taekwondo. And we met at the Patty, as you mentioned earlier. That's where I got my start back in 2003 in sword fighting. Originally, I went to the Patty to learn some stage combat with swords. And fortunately, at the beginning, they had a lot of historical masters, people who actually knew how to sword fight, not only for stage, but historically. And I became enamored with historical European martial arts. And now that is a huge part of what I do. I'm also a swords instructor. In the historical European martial arts, I do longsword, rapier, saber, messer, dusuk, bartitsu, dagger, sword and buckler, knife, tomahawk. Um, I've developed my own system of makwawit, which is the Aztec weapon. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm missing several, but yeah, that's in a
If it's
nutshell.
pointy, you can handle it.
Yeah.
I saw that you were starting to kind of make your own curriculum or something about like the Aztec and shield aspects. So that's got to be pretty cool. I mean, especially being in Mexico, there much of a need for that skill set, or is there getting more interest or traction behind it?
There is some interest. There's not much interest for it professionally. Unfortunately, I was an extra for Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2, where there's a big Aztec fight in the background, and you really can't see me. And I was originally cast as a stunt guy for Cortez film that got canceled during COVID. But
Oh,
yeah, there's not much demand for it. But there's a couple of good groups down here who have started developing their own systems in the way we fight with the Aztec sword and shield, just because we like it. Some of the other groups, they come from an archaeology perspective, they come from a martial arts perspective, and we've been friends and we've shared our own findings and what we're doing and trying to build from there. But it's just something that I like, especially because, again, going back to the Patty, Brad Waller, who was one of the founders of the Patty Crane Workshop, he walked up to me once and said exactly that. Hey, buddy, you come from Mexico. That's a big warrior culture. And the Aztecs, they were one of the fiercest fighters in history. And nobody's really looking into that. So I think you should go back home and just start looking into it and come back and teach it to us. I'm like, sure. I mean, if you think I can do it. I came back, started researching. Unfortunately, there's not much to work on because Spaniards destroyed most records of the fighting system. So I just had to go back to my other weapons and start cross training and this see what kind of worked with this specific weapon and just started developing my own system.
that's really, really cool. And I like that you said even archaeologists are coming in into play with this because that's I don't know, I find that really fascinating. So if you teach it at the Patty, I'll come take your class.
I taught it at the last Patty.
I know I missed the last one, so you have to come back.
Yeah. Well, we need to talk to the Patty Powers to see if they'll bring me back.
I'm putting it out there. They're gonna have to watch this. I mean, they better.
Yeah.
So. I do want to show one of your videos here where it was one of your horseback riding ones.
Okay.
Just show I think you fall off the horse.
Yeah. That's the no padding one.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what's crazy, right? I mean, I remember one of my very first stunt classes. He's like, "What would you do if you had no padding and you were in I think, a tank top and shorts and you had to, fall out of a moving cart?" And I was like, "I don't know," because I was so new that I couldn't give my opinion. I didn't even have that concept of like padding or if they would have padding for me to fall on. So, to see you do it, I think it's important for us to show something like that. Oh, no, I don't think it's that
So that
one.
one was after
Oh,
I fell, and the actress just kind of going up to me and just really being happy that she didn't have to do it.
oh, I don't think I sent him the link. Um, but yeah, is this the aftermath of the fall?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah, you can
after
put
the
it up.
fall.
Sorry, I'll have to attach like the links in the description on that one because I'm not-
¿Qué te pasa? ¿Ya me puedo mover, señor? Aguanta,
Yeah, no,
aguántame un momento, por favor, para ti.
no, it's been
and then
Mande,
of
señor.
course it's the whole. Can I move now? No, no, no. Just give us a moment. We need to
Ok.
sorry, one
check
second.
where you landed and whatnot. So
¿Quieres hablar con él?
So is that just like kind of like the position you fell in, or is that how you were able to fall that they were
well,
showing?
that was the position I landed, and then the assistant director is coming up to me and just trying to tell me what the director wants, and because we actually did that fall like 4 times because the director didn't like it. So okay, so next time can you roll this way or can you fall this way? So,
All the things we get to do on set. You didn't fall
yeah.
properly. Do it this way.
Oh,
um,
that brings me back to my first professional gig. I did a fall on skis. And of course, Mexico City doesn't get any snow. And that was the whole purpose of it. This came during the Ice Age movie, and this soft drink company was promoting watches, and the whole concept was, yeah, all the snow and ice have been capturing these really new cool watches that you can get for blah blah blah. And I'm supposed to be a skier who's just the falls with the skis because there's no snow. So I go through the motion, I do my fall, I roll, whatever. I do it a couple of times. We're resetting, and the director comes up to me and says, "Okay, so this looks really cool, but can you do it this way specifically?" Yes, sir. I'll do it exactly as you call it. I did it to the note as the director called it. He comes up as we're, you know what? Looks better the way you were doing. Just continue doing it like you were doing it. Yes, sir. You're the boss. So
I always remember the first ones. I know we talked about you traveling for training, like especially with the Patty, but can you tell us more about traveling for training or traveling for work and how that goes for you? Is it busy? Do you go more internationally? What's that like for you?
well, I do have to travel internationally because there's not much here. I mean, yeah, when I'm working, we do sometimes shoot on location in different states in Mexico. I've had the chance to work in Guanajuato, in Tijuana. Uh, when I was doing the live show, it was a medieval times concept live show, and we did a lot of good stage fairs, and that took us all over the country. I've been able to work. I can't really say I'm a pirate because I've actually gotten paid to do pirate work. So I always say I'm a privateer because I've had a chance to do some pirate work for shows in the Dominican Republic and a TV commercial that was shot in Costa Rica. So, and also a TV commercial that was shot in Puerto Vallarta. So, because I've been a pirate and gotten paid for it, I'm more of a privateer than a pirate. I've also traveled to teach and compete in historical European martial arts throughout the US, Canada, and Europe. So,
Do you find that part of the job like really rewarding? Because I know there are some people that just want to get in stunts because they want to travel, or it's like a main part of it. But it's nice to go back and hear, that it is a big part of what we do. Like I think traveling for training is huge, and then because you're traveling training, you get to meet people, or it is a kind of a benefit where you just get to travel just to do the work.
both. I mean, I love to travel.
Yeah.
It's in my blood. Traveling is just something that I need to do. Just staying at home sometimes can get boring. So it's always nice to travel, and you get to meet some awesome people like yourself. I mean, if I didn't travel, I never would have met you. So yeah, I love to travel. I don't really remember when was the last time I actually traveled for vacation or leisure. Most of the times when I'm traveling, it's either for swordsmanship, tournaments, or workshops. I just came back this year from Austin, Texas, where I was called in to teach a Makwawit class, actually. Or when I go up to Canada, it's usually for the patty. Yes, I do get to visit my parents who are living in Canada at the moment, but I usually go up to Canada for the patty or for another sword workshop in Montreal. Or if I travel to the States, it's mostly for sword workshops and competitions. So yeah, I do like to travel, but again, I got started in stunts because I got a chance to get paid for doing the things that I normally would be doing, like horseback riding, or riding motorcycles, or rappelling, or mountain climbing, or whatever. So if I get to travel for work and get paid to travel, that's just a win-win.
Well, and when
Last
you're
year, I go to the Dominican Republic for a TV show, an American TV show that was being shot in the Dominican Republic, and I got a chance to spend a few days on the beach because we weren't working on those days, and I still got to travel for work. So
it's definitely a huge benefit, and when you're listing your skills there too, um, you do all these different things that are kind of like the bread and butter of stunts, and you got some special skills like the motorcycle riding, but then you kind of like diverted, if that's the word I want to use, into more HEMA skills, which you know, like you said, there's so many different kinds of sword fighting. And then because of that, though, it's like sometimes people almost forget all your other skills that you do, and they try to focus you just on HEMA, which I mean, like if you're traveling and stuff, it makes sense because I mean, there's historical combat everywhere. But is there something about that that like, as much as you love HEMA, do you miss just kind of like the bread and butter stunts of getting thrown off something or, you know, just riding a motorcycle?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love him. I love the sword fighting, and it's such a huge part of what I do. And it's gotten me to travel the most. And most of my friends come from that world. But yeah, I'll find myself at Combat Con, which is a very big combat centered event in Las Vegas, and it has historical swordsmanship, it has lightsabers, it has stunts. I mean, just anything that has to do with combat is in one place. And I do know a lot of HEMA people, but I also know a lot of the stunt people at Combat Con. And it's funny because the HEMA crowd don't realize I know these people from the stunt world because I'm a stunt guy. But the stunt people, yeah, they know me, but they also kind of forget that I'm a stunt guy. And yeah, but you're a swords guy. Well, I'm a swords guy, but I'm also a stunt guy. I actually got started doing stunts. Or when I go back to the patty and they're setting up classes, and it's always, yeah, you're the sword guy. You're working with the sword classes. Yeah, but I also want to do stunts and I want to do falls and I want to do this. So yeah, sadly, it's like I'm more recognized now for HEMA than I am for stunts. When stunts is actually what got me into HEMA. So
Yeah, sometimes our special skills kind of take the highlight, but it is kind of important to remember like your roots and to get a chance to do both still because I mean we do like what we started as. It's good memories and usually, you know, we always have a lot of fun. So I think it's great that you started specializing in HEMA. And I did want to talk about I have one of your videos. It's a pirate video because I watched
yeah.
it and I didn't show that you had a couple you sent me, but this one I liked because it actually showed you sword fighting, all dressed up in pirates. So do you like doing pirate stuff? Like, is that a fun one for you?
Arr. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah. Again, I try to use everything. This was for a pirate show that I was called in to help set up. They brought in an international crew to help set up a pirate show in the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana. And the purpose was the international crew would help set up the show, then we would leave and locals would take over the show. Unfortunately, my contract expired before the ship was ready, so I never got to perform. But yeah, my sword skills. When I was working with the other captain, I was supposed to be the villain in the show. So when I was working with the captain, with the good guy, and he would sometimes forget the choreography. And fortunately, I have the skills to be able to get to a parry or a block when needed. So that was always helpful. But yeah, I mean, like I was saying, a lot of people or the other crews who are working on the Makwawit, they see it as a dueling weapon. Whereas I've taken some pirate classes. I remember going to ISMAC, International Sword Fighting and Martial Arts Convention in Detroit, Michigan in 2007, and taking a class with John Lennox on boarding actions. And the way I see the whole Makwawit, which is the whole system that I've developed, the Aztec weapon, the way I've developed it is more of a boarding actions skill than a dueling skill. So yeah, I try and take a little bit of everything I do and build on that for everything else that I have to or want to do. So yeah, I do enjoy being a pirate.
I would love being a pirate too. I know every time like I was looking through your videos, I was like, that's super fun. if you're a stunt person, you don't want to be pirate. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hilarious because when I dress as a pirate, the first thing people always say is, "Ah, Jack Sparrow." No, I'm not Jack Sparrow because if I were doing a Jack Sparrow, that would be pirating. This is original. And I've always thought people were just being crazy until I was actually doing that pirate show that you just showed the video. And one of the crew members, he had actually worked on Pirates of the Caribbean. And he did say, you know what? You do actually kind of look like Johnny. So, Johnny Depp, if you're watching this, please hire me. I want to be your stunt double.
I mean, I could definitely see it, like, for sure. I think that that's a good call out
It's
to
the long
have.
hair.
I mean, long hair, I could see, like, your mannerism, your facial structure, throw up the beard. I'm pretty sure if we could get you in hair and makeup, it'd be pretty uncanny.
Johnny, if you're watching this, please hire me.
And I promise, because we couldn't get the link to Playwright, I'll have it in the description so you can see some of your sword fighting, and you can just add some of the the art movements and the creature work.
Yeah.
So I do have a question for you, but tell us something that would surprise people about you in the industry. I know we covered wigging, so it's got to be another hidden one there.
Okay, yes, I know exactly what. I'm not an adrenaline junkie. People always, and we talked about this earlier at another call. People always think that because we're stunt people, we just want to do that because of the adrenaline. And yes, I do know a lot of stunt people who are adrenaline junkies and they just want to do it for the adrenaline. I think that if I became an adrenaline junkie, I would forget my training, and that's when accidents happen. So yes, I do enjoy doing stunts. I think I'm good at them, but it's not like, oh yeah, I want to jump from a 5-story building just because I can jump from a 5-story building. I actually don't want to jump from a 5-story building. But when I'm there and I see the crash mat or the airbag, or when I'm set to do it, I do enjoy it. But as soon as I land, as soon as they call cut, the adrenaline goes away and it's back to just being me. We were auditioning for a TV show. I don't even know if it ever got made. And we had to fight. They asked us for a fight sequence. And as soon as they said action, I went full berserk mode and just started fighting, blah, blah, blah. As soon as they said cut, it had washed away and I was okay with it. And I could move on to the next new thing. The person I was fighting with, he was all riled up for about 30 minutes afterwards. I'm like, dude, that's a good way to get yourself really tired or to cause an accident. As soon as they call cut, you have to break out from that character and move on to the next. So, yeah, if something can surprise people is I'm not an adrenaline junkie.
You know what I
Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy adrenaline. I'm just not a junkie.
I think that's a good thing, and it's good perspective on that. I mean, especially with my show being called Chasing Adrenaline, because a lot of the training I find is exciting, or when you're getting on set, but it's just the pre-jitter nerves. It's like pre-fight nerves, and then you get outside and it's just like whoosh, and everything kind of calms down. Like you said, you see the safety, you're looking at the details, and then when they call action, you're just kind of in the moment, trusting all your training is there, and then they call cut. And you just kind of, if you don't have to do it again, or even if you do, you kind of just sit in this. It's a different mind space to just sit in. So I don't know. I think that's a very good. It's very. I don't know. I'm surprised. I don't even know what to say. I think it's.
I mean, imagine this. You're driving down the street and you're full stunt mode, just driving like crazy. We can't do that in big cities, even if we wanted. So you go, you shoot a TV commercial, or you shoot a film, or you shoot a television series, and you happen to be behind the wheel driving. And as soon as they say cut, you go back, you get changed, you leave set, and you're heading back home, and you're still on that adrenaline rush. that can't be healthy for you or for people crossing the street or other drivers. So you have to learn how to just shut it off as soon as they call cut and turn it back on when they say action.
I mean, I feel like that's got to be a skill set in itself, like you said, to control the rush. And I am going to have Spencer Hum on this show eventually, and he's got a whole different perspective and, educated answer for all of this. And I thought it was really cool. So you're going to have to tune in for his
Oh,
podcast,
I'm definitely going to watch that one. I love Spence. So,
right?
yeah.
but,
But yeah,
but
I
you're
mean, when I was doing the live show, the medieval live show, we had some shows where I got to play the king and I got dethroned and I got thrown off the castle. And it was a 15-foot fall onto about 3 feet of sand. And when I wasn't doing that part, I would probably go up to the castle and just look down and I'd be like, the guy who jumps off of this is a complete moron. I would never do this. But when I had to do it, I just didn't think about it. I just went through the motions. I went through my training. I did my flip fall, landed on my mark, and continue with what had to happen next. And I couldn't really just be entirely focused on that because there's so much more happening. I had lines throughout the whole show, and it was just the end of the show. So if I'm focused on that, then I can't deliver all my lines and I can't uh, communicate with the rest of the actors on the stage because I'm focused on that. So I have to learn how to turn it on when I need to and turn it off once it's done because so much else is going on, whether it's a live show, it's a theater, it's television, it's film, it's a commercial. As soon as you're done, let's say you have to repeat the sequence, but they have to reset the lights and reset camera and reset audio, and it takes 30 minutes to get that done. And you're right there with this adrenaline rush for 30 minutes. By the time you get to do it again, you're all drained out. So
conserve the energy. Don't be too much of
yeah,
an adrenaline junkie.
I mean, it's not like the Fall Guy with the movie that just came out last year, where okay, yeah, we just lit this guy on fire, cut. Okay, light him up again. No, it takes 30 minutes to an hour to prep just to get that another fire burn. So you can't really be living with that adrenaline rush for 30 minutes to an hour because when they call it again, you can't perform. So you need to learn how to turn it on and off on command.
I think that's a super, super good point for even anybody up and coming in stunts to know that, which actually leads into one of my favorite questions to ask everybody. But if you could give any advice to the next generation of stunts or HEMA students coming, people who are inspired by you, want to follow in your footsteps, have watched this podcast, is there anything advice-wise that you'd give to them? It's a loaded question.
Never put adrenaline over your training
And safe.
because yeah, adrenaline will help you go through that door or go through that tempered glass or go or get lit on fire or it will get you to do what you need to do. But your training is what's going to keep you safe while doing that. So never put adrenaline over your training and always rely on your training. If you have good base, just like you said earlier, footwork. When I'm teaching sword fighting, I'm really I really stress out the structure and the footwork because you can't build a house with poor foundations or you can't have a strong tree with bad roots. So your footwork or your base is that root, it's that foundation. If they're weak, then you can't build upon it. So always focus on your training, whether you're doing sword fighting or you're doing stunts or you're acting or you're a doctor or you're a mechanic or whatever you do, your basic training is always going to get you ahead and what's going to keep you safe and continue working.
I think that's really good advice. And if anybody is interested in reaching out to Roberto, where can they find you? Like, if they want to, take some classes with you, if they want to train with you, is there a way for them to find you?
Yeah, I'm on social media as Martinez Loyo or Roberto Martinez Loyo. And also, you can find my HEMA School's Facebook page on as Elite Fencing Club Mexico. We also have all the socials for that. And for stunts, I run with the Four Elements Stunts. That's the name of my crew, Four Elements. It's this one. So, yeah.
So you do you because you mentioned your crew, do you guys work together a lot? Like, is there a core group of you that kind of jumps around shows and trains regularly?
We do have a core crew, and when the job needs, we will bring in some other people. But yeah, we do have a bit of a core crew that we normally work with.
Okay. Yeah, I'm finding more and more, the more stunt people I talk to, I came in kind of differently where we are all more individuals and in Calgary they're trying now, but there wasn't a regular training group of people there. And so it's just interesting to find out that, there really are a lot of stunt groups that, you guys train together, you understanding how each other moves, and it just makes you stronger when you get to work together.
Sadly, in my case, because I trained abroad, a lot of stunt coordinators here at home, they didn't really like me. So I spent many years as an independent freelance stunt performer, not getting as much work as I would have wanted until I found this place, until I came across this crew, Four Elements Stunts, and they became home. They became family. They adopted me, and they cherished the skills that I had both in HEMA and as a stunt performer. And I've grown so much as a stunt guy, and I've had a chance to coordinate a few projects because they trusted me and they trusted the training and the base that I had. So yeah, I'm really happy with my crew right now. I wouldn't change them for anything, and I'll live and and die with them because they're just the best right now. And it's gotten me more work than when I was a freelance. But yeah, back in the day when I started, they didn't exist back then, so I had to go through the whole independent circuit.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that there's becoming more teams, and like you said, you just have that camaraderie, and I think it's very benefiting to the entire community. So it's neat to kind of hear that that's even something that is progressing, where there's more and more groups that are working together. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
So there is something else that I wanted to get to with you, and I'm just trying to find. Oh, I
absolutely.
wanted
Yeah.
I wanted to show your video of you getting like blown off a bridge because I feel like I need to know more about that. So Tyler will pull it out. We'll let the audience watch it with us, and then we'll have you tell us about it.
Absolutely.
Because I just watched it, and I just remember going, "Oh my god," because I didn't know what was happening until I saw the big boom.
This was the last shot of the second season of the TV show I did many years ago, where again I'm stunt doubling for an actress. And yeah, it was fun. We were supposed to shoot this at another location about a week before we actually shot this, and for some reason we couldn't get to that season, so we had to reschedule it. So I spent about 3, 4 days in costume dressed as the actress just waiting for them to get to the sequence because they had to reschedule, but they also had the whole work plan that they needed to get to. So I spent about 3, 4 nights just so we could shoot those 5 seconds of action. So yeah. Also, if you want to start in the stunt business, you do need to learn patience because we have hours and hours and hours of waiting.
We were talking about like the bridge blow up, and the reason I wanted to show you your video with the bridge is because you can kind of see a little bit of movement on what's going on around set. You know, you see some crew running across the bridge, you know, what they were doing, you know, special effects probably getting things ready. And then like you said, then all of a sudden it's like boom, blow up, and you know, your 2 seconds are done and you're moving on. But sometimes you could be on set for like 2 hours, 14 hours before that
Oh,
happens.
that was a total of like 3 or 4 nights where I was getting called, and it was all night. I mean, we got on set at probably 8, 9 o'clock at night, and we were cutting at 2, 3 in the morning. And because it was backlogged, it was rescheduled because we couldn't do it on the day. They had so much other stuff to get through before we actually got back to that one. That it was like, okay, yeah, let's just have the stunt people on standby and be ready. And for some reason, we didn't even have campers, so we just had to be on the highway for 3 nights straight until we finally got to shoot. And it was a 10-minute shot for, I mean, the video is a lot shorter, but the prep and everything was like 10 minutes for a 2-second shot. So
Well, I thought it was a super, super cool scene, so I wanted to show that one for sure because, you know, it is one of those things that when you go back and see, you're like, "It looks cool." So,
oh yeah, it's a little bit of behind the scenes that we all love. So
right? You don't get to always see that, so I thought it was cool. I did wanna ask you too, what's your life like offset? Like, what's, you know, a day-to-day when you're not doing stunts and not training, you know, do you have little things that you like to do that are peaceful or, you know, like, what's your thing?
it's boring. There's this meme that I love. I saw once, and it's this girl just sitting on her bed, laptop on her lap, and the caption says, "You're a you're a stunt woman, right? Your life must be so amazing, or so entertaining, or something, or so thrilling, something like that." And it's just her sitting on her bed with her laptop on her lap. Yeah, that's basically it. Just chilling and going to the bank, paying bills, or making lunch, or I mean, just hanging around and not
That's how we get
really doing much. So
right? That's how we get our balance in just with popcorn laying there being like, "Just don't touch me for, like, 2 days."
exactly. So yeah, sadly, my life when I'm not on set or when I'm not teaching or competing with swords is mostly boring. So you can't
I
be
don't
an adrenaline junkie when you're when you spend so much time waiting.
know, you gotta have the downtime. I do have a closing game if you're up for it.
Sure.
So I don't know if I learned this at the Patty. Honestly, I don't know which workshop I learned this from, but it stuck with me. So I always like to do 3 found weapons and 3 escapes. So if you were sitting where you are, you can picture yourself at a cafe. You can set the scene for us, whatever you want to do, and let us know 3 weapons if someone was going to attack you, and 3 escapes that you would use. But set the scene. Pick a place.
3 weapons that I would get attacked with, or 3 weapons that I could use.
3 weapons that you'd use to defend yourself.
Oh, well, if I'm at a cafe, definitely I'd use, I don't know, a knife, just because knives are fun. Um,
Probably handy. Sometimes they're at cafes.
yeah, definitely my hands, because we've been training with a lot of hand-to-hand combat. I know you have, and I have as well. And Definitely a tablecloth.
Tablecloth. That's a creative one.
Well, I've done some sword and cape, or cloak and cape and sword. So just using the tablecloth to wrap around your hand to protect from cuts, or to wrap your opponent, or just fling it, whatever. So yeah, tablecloth I think would be a very interesting weapon to use. Very Jackie Chan.
I like it too. I think it's very distracting for the
Yeah.
aggressor.
Yeah, you can probably tell I've been watching many Jackie Chan movies, right? Knife, fist, and tablecloth.
Legal weapons.
Yeah, yeah. A teacher of mine, he used to joke around. He's a swords guy as well, and he would say that when he got to the airport and people asked him, "Any weapons to declare?" Yeah, one and two.
I could just see them being like,
Yeah, and three escapes. Well, definitely. When I'm at a public place and I get to choose where to sit, sometimes we don't get that option. I usually like to sit at a corner with my back to the corner so I can see who's walking in. So the first escape would be obviously the front door. Second escape would be the back door. Once you can kind of check where everything's at. And the third escape is just, well, I got my knife, my fist, and my tablecloth. Come at me, bro, and let's duke it out.
I like that your third escape is, well, we're just going to stand here and I'm either getting out of this or I'm not.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, bitches. Just okay. I'm in a corner. Let's just see who gets the best out of this. So
I love it. Usually people find their third escape, like I'll go through the roof or I'll jump through a window. But you're just like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna finish this
well,
here.
I'd probably jump through the window if I knew special effects was there and they had the all the safety
Like,
measures. You could go through the window. Otherwise, let's just run either out the front door or out the back. Or if worst comes to would come, let's just play it out and see what happens.
I love it. I just love this game. I feel like, the more I'm doing with you guys, the more I'm coming up with ideas. You're the cafe. I don't know who's going to get the next one.
Yeah. Of course, if I'm in my house, well, I've got enough weapons to
That's why I couldn't
not
use your house.
run.
I know what's
Sorry?
you.
Yeah.
I couldn't use your house. It would have been terrible. You would have had like probably 50 weapons. But
Well, I
yeah,
do have about 20 swords, plus some canes, plus knives, plus a whip, plus, yeah,
the ever growing weapons of stunt people.
of course. Well, in my case, they're not really for stunts, they're more for HEMA, so.
That's true. I can't group it, but I like to group it because for me it's like they're all my stunt gear bag. That's what I'm calling it. But that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair
you
enough.
have to have a lot for sure because of all the different disciplines, and you want to have enough to train with people as well. So
Yeah, yeah, that's what happens when you're the instructor. You need to have training weapons for other people.
yeah, I know I thought about that. I have a couple, so like I'll always try to get two of everything now because I didn't start out buying two, and now it's kind of been like an egg in my face. I'm like, I really want to go do this, but I can't because I don't have a second one to go play with anyone.
Yeah, yeah, you need to have someone and something to play with. So,
Yeah, there you go. There's another tip. Always have two.
exactly. Or they don't have to be the same as long as you can pair them. So,
That's true. Like having the napkin.
exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
have to.
mean, you can always pair a spear to a sword or something like that. So,
There you go. I like it. So if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and you can find Roberto on a couple of different social media or IMDb to go play and hang out with him. And yeah, do you have anything else you'd like to end with, Roberto, for the audience?
just thanks for having me. It was fun. And yeah, this was great. And I can't wait to see you in person, hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. I'm like, The pressure is on for the next Patty for sure.
If next time we meet, we definitely need to work together. We have to do something together, whether it's swords or stunts, but we do have to do something together.
Right, we'll have some fun, and maybe I'll try heels, and you can laugh at me because I'm pretty sure you're better at all this in heels than I am.
I don't think so. You look like you're pretty good on heels. So.
We'll find out. We'll take that challenge.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk soon. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye.